So what does it really mean to be destroyed but not defeated? It's a huge question, and it's right at the heart of Ernest Hemingway's 1952 classic, The Old Man and the Sea. Now, on the surface, it might just seem like a simple story about an old guy and a fish, but trust me, it is so much more. It's really this incredible deep dive into the human spirit when it's pushed to its absolute breaking point.
Our story revolves around Santiago. He's an old Cuban fisherman, and his entire life is basically shrunk down to one single haunting number, 84. For 84 days straight, he has gone out to sea and he has come back with absolutely nothing. In his village, they've got a word for this, salao. It means he's the worst kind of unlucky.
But this story, it isn't really about the 84 days of bad luck. Nope. It's about what happens next. It's all about day 85. This is the day that Santiago believes is going to be different. This is the day when everything is about to change. All right, so let's talk about this unbeatable old man. You see, Santiago's terrible luck has kind of made him an outcast. The other fishermen, they mock him. And worse, his young apprentice, Marlin, well, his parents have forbidden him from sailing with the old man anymore, so he's completely alone. And yet, somehow, despite all of that, his determination is just unbreakable. So on day 85, he does something really bold. He doesn't just go to the usual spots. No, he rows his little boat all by himself, way out into the Gulf Stream. I mean, he's heading for the really deep water, where the giant fish are, the legends. He's basically betting everything he has on this one single journey.
And this is where we get to the heart of it, the battle of a lifetime. Because way out there, in that deep blue water, something answers his call. And he's about to enter into the single greatest struggle of his entire life, a raw, primal contest, just one man against the awesome power of nature.
Then, it happens. Something takes the bait. And listen, this is no ordinary fish. It is a gigantic marlin, a creature longer than his actual boat, with a kind of power he has never, ever felt before. The battle begins in an instant, but you realize something immediately. It's the marlin, not the man, that's in control here.
And this isn't some quick fight that's over in an hour. No, this is a grueling 3-day ordeal. On that first day, the hooked marlin just starts pulling his boat, dragging him even further out to sea. By day 2, Santiago is just locked in a battle of pure endurance. We're talking searing pain, exhaustion, hunger, just to hold the line. And then finally, on day 3, he knows he has to gather every last ounce of strength for the final showdown.
Now, during this intense, painful struggle, something pretty profound happens. Santiago starts to develop this deep, almost spiritual respect for the fish. He sees its incredible strength, its nobility, its own powerful will to live. And he stops seeing it as just a prize to be won. He sees it as a worthy opponent, and at one point, he even calls it his brother.
So we come to this moment of victory and loss. Because on that third day, the marlin finally starts to tire. And with the very last of his strength, Santiago manages to pull the great fish in and kill it with his harpoon. He did it. He won. He ties the massive prize to the side of his boat. It's way too big to bring aboard. But his ordeal, oh, it is far from over. Getting home is going to be a new and honestly a more heartbreaking battle.
Of course, all that blood in the water, it's basically a dinner bell for every shark in the ocean, and it isn't long before they show up. Santiago, he fights them with this desperate fury. I mean, he uses his harpoon, then a knife that he lashes to an oar, but he's just one man against an army of predators. And they just keep coming, in waves, tearing huge chunks off his prize.
And this right here, this shows the incredible paradox of Santiago's journey. On the one hand, he had the greatest victory of his entire life, landing that massive marlin. But on the other hand, he suffers a total, devastating loss. By the time he finally makes it back to the harbor, all that is left of his incredible prize is a stark, white skeleton. His victory was literally devoured on the way home.
So, you have to ask yourself, what was the point of all that? Did he lose? Well, materially, yes, of course he did. But Hemingway's story is really pushing us to look deeper, to find the real meaning behind this heroic and tragic struggle.
He comes back to the village with nothing to sell at the market, nothing to show for 3 days of agony except for a skeleton. And yet, in a much deeper sense, he has everything. He proved his skill, his unbreakable will, his amazing capacity to just endure. He lost the fish, for sure, but his dignity is perfectly intact. You know, Santiago's whole journey just hits on some of the biggest themes in all of literature. I mean, you've got perseverance against just insane odds. There's this deep pride he has in his craft and who he is. His isolation out there on the ocean really highlights the lonely struggle we all face sometimes. And of course, it's all set against that epic, often brutal relationship between humanity and the natural world.
And all of this brings us to what is really the core message of the entire book. It's a line that has stuck with people for decades. Look, Santiago's body is broken. His prize is gone. He has been, for all intents and purposes, physically destroyed by this whole ordeal. But his spirit, his will, his dignity? No way. They remain completely undefeated. And that really just leaves us with one final thought, a question that Santiago's story kind of asks all of us. We all face these struggles where the outcome, on paper, might look like a loss, but the real victory, the true win, is in the endurance itself. So I want you to think about it. What battle in your life, win or lose, proves that you are undefeated?